AI isn't here to replace our hustle. It's here to carry the weight that we never meant to carry alone. In 2026, the question is no longer whether you should use AI. The real question is how you choose to think about it. Not as a shiny tool, not as a shortcut, but as a quiet, tireless partner. One that listens, learns, and moves with you through your workflow. AI is the intern that never sleeps, the strategist that connects dot faster than instinct, and the system that gives solopreneurs what they have always needed, which is the time back guarantee. But the speed without direction creates noise. Efficiency without direction creates chaos. And that's why in this episode of Bootstrap Banter, we are not just talking about what AI to use, rather, the first episode in this series where we are guiding you through how to decide where to explore and when to adopt AI so it works for your business, not against it. Will help you think in systems, build with clarity, and move faster without losing your voice, your values, your vision, and your mission for the business. This isn't an AI episode, but this is a thinking framework for 2026. And yes, there will be more AI tools and detailed and depth episodes coming in this series. Well, this is designed specially for solopreneurs and startups who want to build lean, intentional, and unstoppable businesses. So let's begin. This episode of Passionate Pulse is brought to you by Atlantic.net, the official cloud hosting partner of the San Jose Earthquakes and the trusted choice for startups and developers. Get fast, secure, and compliant cloud hosting, plus free credits and a free 8 GB server for your first year. Use promo code PULSE50 at Atlantic.net while it lasts. Atlantic.net, built for builders, trusted by champions. Namaskar, welcome to the Passionate Pulse podcast, Bootstrap Banter episodes. In the Bootstrap Banter series, basically we discuss all the fundas that we as a passionpreneur implement in our own startups, our own small scale businesses. And those are the same fundas or research or the tools that we are adopting or, as and when we are researching, we discuss back on this particular podcast. So you, my dear friends, don't have to sweat your time and energy to find out which exact are the areas where certain tools are good, what are the certain philosophies that we have to implement in the business, what are certain disciplines, what are some different techniques that if you equip, then your efficiency, productivity in your own businesses can grow. And on top of it, we also listen to you, my dear audience, through our workshops, through our webinars, as well as the people who are knocking us back for the services. And what we understood was in 2025, many of our clientele wanted to adopt AI, but were failing to adopt AI. They didn't know where to start, they didn't know which tools to use. And that's where we decided to curate this particular series, which is a AI mini series that we are unfolding on Bootstrap Banter that will guide you, equip you which tools in which areas are good. And on top of it, you can go ahead and build your competitive study and figure it out what are certain tools that you should be adopting. But prior to the adopting or figuring out on the tools or getting into the ocean without equipping yourself is a very dangerous act to do. So we decided to harness you with this particular first episode of that series, talking about how you should have a clarity before adopting a certain tool and before deciding which particular mechanism or tools or certain platforms can build the efficiency that get you more faster results, but at the same time you should have a clarity in terms of when to adopt what. So that's where this episode is all about. Instead of chasing the shiny AI tools, you should have a clarity in your head in the part of the businesses that you're operating, the type of a startup that you're operating, what are some of the areas, what are some of the workflows, and as a team member where you can have an AI as your companion. And remember, AI is a team member, but it's not a magic wand. So all the direction that has to happen is through you, my dear friend. So what you are exactly getting out from this particular episode is understand and think how to do AI adoption in your particular business, in your particular project. Learn a clear framework to identify the right AI agents first. Once you're equipped with that kind of a study, you can move further and you can deep dive and figure it out based on the price, based on the type of outcomes you're receiving, and then you are better equipped to take those decisions. See what are some of the real world use cases where the certain type of AI need to be adopted, and how you go about it and think about it, and walk away with the confidence that you can start small today, but you will be smart in implementing it. So, that is the agenda of this first episode of this mini series that we are curating on the AI, and that is what you will walk away with. Well, before we go any more further, I would like to tell you the Passionate Pulse podcast. If you're hearing this on the radio and you're wondering where exactly you can find the previous episodes, or if this is a series, and where exactly you can tune in further. So, the Passionate Pulse podcast is available on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Prime, Substack, whichever medium where you get your podcast, we are available there. All you have to do is just look up forward for the Passionate Pulse podcast, subscribe or download the episodes, whichever part of the world you are, or whichever part of the the podcast medium that you're tuning in. Do make sure that you subscribe to the podcast. Definitely, whenever the new episodes are dropping, or any post or anything that exclusive that we are doing, that is only for subscribers. So you get notified with all of that. You get the exclusive promo codes of certain tools, techniques, platforms, and there are tons of things that we do behind, even for our workshops. The second thing is it also help us understanding that these many subscribers are wanting a certain type of a series, a certain type of a content. That's where they are subscribing to us, so it keeps us going as well. Because in the podcasting world, unfortunately, the host behind the mic is not aware who is listening when and what exactly that they're looking forward to. So that's where this feedback loop is what we are looking forward from all of you. Also, if you're wondering how you can, suggest us a new episodes or certain gray areas that you have where you want to bring in clarity in your business, feel free to write us at info@passionatepulse.com, or just WhatsApp or text us at 341-209-0102. So, my dear friend, I'm your host Pranali, and in the Bootstrap Banter, we will be deep diving on how the AI adoption really looks different in 2026 and what you should be doing for that. So the first thing and a most important thing is, instead of thinking about tools, think about that AI agents are embedded into workflows, and you need to design your workflow first. So you should have a clarity, like which all parts of the business that you're operating, where you have the certain type of a structure. So all that thing, it still belongs to you. That is not gonna get replaced with AI. Okay. So you don't really need more apps to operate. You can have a decision making support through them, and there are different AI agents can do a wonderful job for you. Well, and most important thing to understand is, now we are not competing with the other businesses, but we are more or less competing with our own businesses to go leaner. The AI powered teams that we are looking out to build up productivity and efficiency. So with that mindset in mind, this is what we are looking forward to, how we can protect our energy, time, and focus, and get back to more efficiency, productivity, and get the results, the type of a visibility that we are looking forward to. So as I said, there is a Bootstrap AI framework, literally BOOTSTRAP, and there is something that is attached to it, and that's how we are curating this episode. Well, the B means break down your business into workflows. The next O talks about the observe, friction, and repetition. The other one is outcome first and tool latter. The type of agents that you need to look forward to. Well, the S stands for start with one agent, one workflow. T stands for test, train, and tweak. R stands for review ROI. E stands for align with brand and ethics. And the P stands for protect the human touch. So, on these pillars, we are actually deep diving in today's episode. So, the first thing that I said, the start with one agent and one workflow. First, to get into that, you need to really break down your business into workflows. So the first thing that you need to ask yourself is, what do I do daily, weekly, monthly, or occasionally. So, if you can write it down, or at least you have a structure in your mind, that's where it starts all. Next step is you have to figure it out on this particular bigger skeleton where you are exactly spending time but not creating the value. For example, are there any repeatable tasks that you see that have certain pattern? For example, you're looking for the lead generation. Then, what are the important techniques of lead generation? Wherever you communicate with anyone in your contact, you first of all have those contact listed as your potential or future clients. Then segment out that client data based on their interest, based on the type of communication that you have, and so on and so forth. So there is a huge engine that goes behind the lead generation. So that is one area to talk about. The second thing, there is a frequent communication that you do with your clients and what type of client they are. Are these the clients that are getting onboarded? Are these the clients that have purchased your services and you are giving them the customer support? Or these are the one-time based clientele that you had, and now they are coming, once everything is done for certain queries or feedback or whatever. So that defining those categories of communication. So those are some of the workflows that you are actually looking out where your daily operation that gets into. And these are like some of the repeatable tasks. Then, of course, there is a lot of research that goes prior to the lead generation or depending on the product that you are planning to map. And, if there is so much that every day you have to evolve in your product or in your services, you have to redefine your packages, you have to redefine certain strategies. There are so many workflows that exist, right? So those are the workflows that you first want to break down into your business and see where you are spending most amount of time. At least take a weekly picture, I believe. That can take you at certain places and can, help you identify that areas, that these are some of the areas where you either don't have any tools implemented, or there are not processes defined. Then those are the areas are your bottleneck in your business. So you might want to, capture them and think about those areas, what needs to be done next. Well, in each category, there are various tools to adopt from, various techniques to go around it. If you're working on a shoestring budget as well, there are various ways to, stitch together a lot of AI agents, but let's not get deep dive in this episode. For that, we will be curating another next episode that can take you to that system level design. But, observe those areas. That's the second step. Observe those areas and the friction that you're facing, and, where exactly your tasks are repeatable based on the patterns, and how you can avoid the human based errors and the fatigue or the time that an individual is putting out, or if you hire any assistant, then the time of training. So you have to identify those areas and whether can you automate that training, the tasks which are repeatable like the outreach task or whatever that you want to delegate. But prior to that, there is an intellectual property that needs to be communicated, like for even for the outreach purpose. So what are those pillars? Can you add those somewhere? Can you make from that the emails device, the blogs device, the newsletters that you're putting in, or whatever medium, through whichever medium you want to communicate to the world that you exist and you have these kind of services. So those are the places where you want to think about an automation, and there are various tools to adopt. Again, we're not deep diving to that as of now, but we are understanding the skeleton of it. And the second part, what you absolutely cannot automate, given the structure is the vision, is the relationship building with your client. Although you could use certain things for the lead generation, or have the cold email sequencing, or the type of outreach as a DM or whatever, but you absolutely cannot automate the relationship building with the client or the actual human being on the other side. For that, you need to be in the picture, either your sales reps, your marketing reps, or yourself as a founder. So, those are the places where you absolutely don't want to over automate that stuff where only the bots are representing you. And the third part is, of course, the emotional intelligence that is needed for your business to create your IP. That is intellectual properties for whatever business or services that you are in. The third thing that you need to consider is, what are the outcomes that you are looking out prior to adopting the tool. And this is the crux of this particular episode. Instead of thinking which AI should I use, what do you really want as an outcome if certain things were given? And then compare the cost, whether this is something that is a human delegate or it is an AI delegate. Are there enough tools which could do the same job that the existing team members are doing it? Or if you are at a stage where to hire someone, then that is what you want to think about it. Like if it is something that is an outcome that you can get from tool and you can save the cost and you can go leaner, and then see how you can bind together those tools through the orchestration, then I think that's a great idea to start with, especially when you are a solopreneur. And then think about, like, is it really gonna turn around the frictions that you're facing today? Do they have a better insights than you sitting and analyzing? Is it gonna, like, where you were spending 4 hours to analyze, detect, and then drive the conclusions and then take an action? Can you get some AI assistant that can brief you quickly, give you the action points, give you the crux of the summary of the calls or whatever? So those are the things that you should be thinking. And again, summary of the calls, transcripts, everything, it is a very simple area that that there are tons of AI automation that already exists. But what we are looking out is a deeper down on your calls. If you are discussing something about the products and there are certain features that you're coming out, then those are the features. Can you compete with the market outside? And whatever the competitive analysis that you could do with that research, that's where you want to have the better insights for. And that's where probably you want to adopt the AI tools, which is possible in today's world. And of course, the consistency, whatever business services that you are in, how consistently you can show up, how consistent messaging it can do, also how consistently you can provide services to your customer. In the sense, if you're getting someone in your pipeline, let's say a simple product that is being purchased, how fast you provide them the feedback on, yes, we are automating that part, yes, we are on your service, we will get back to you on so and so timeline, and initial handout of the details. So can you automate those kind of a workflows? So for example, a simple workflow to think about and visualize, and those are the same case studies can go deeper down. So for example, you receive an email for an inquiry of a particular service, particular product, or something that is related. Can you have an auto response curated, which is a very simple automation which all the email tools are providing? You can automate that request. But further down, can you add something in that which is helping your customer or a clientele to come prepare for the next call? Can you take out those details and give them more information prior that you showing up? Well, that is an automation area which is very simple, as I said, and everybody must be doing it. But that can have a consistency messaging going on. It can reduce the time that you need to attempt an email and send it out. After that, what happens is very important. You take down certain feedbacks, you decide, and you want to send out some collaterals or whatever. How ready your collaterals are, how fast you can tweak your collaterals, and how fast you can pertain to that case study is where the AI will actually come into the picture. So that's where you first need to define your output, and then you can opt for the agents versus, just going out with the train whenever you are adopting the tools. There are always pricing tiers, there are always more features. Instead of falling for something good to have, we first need to be smart to understand what needs to be solved. And that's where that outcome first mentality is what will guide you. So the type of agents that you need is, I'll just brief it in a skeleton wise and we'll go deep dive in the future episode for that. The first thing is, of course, everybody needs a research agent, whichever business you are in, whether you want to do the market research, competitors, or ICP research. So whatever it is, you need the research agent. The second thing, no matter which business you are in, we need content agents. We want to draft emails, we want to draft blogs, we want to curate stories or landing pages, whatever it is, and the repurposement of that. So content agent, it's something I believe is like, has become a mandatory to everyone. The third thing is operational agents. You want to make task tracking, you want to send reminders, you want to build your SOPs, or whatever it is, that operations to run smoother if you have resources globally spanned, remotely operating. Then, something also on that line to keep track of everyone and not, crossing the boundaries. The next thing, marketing agent, which is again a fantastic thing that is happening. And there are tons of marketing agents that you can adopt to. We can talk about it. We always want to campaign, we always want to create funnels, we want to have analytics, how things are, overall running, and what marketing is bringing it to you, where exactly you want to spend more money on the marketing, which particular visibility channels are working for you. There are so many things that goes underneath. Customer support, everybody needs it. Like, can you have a great chatbot? What are the efficient ways of, building the chatbot? Are there any actually AI tools that you can just adopt irrespective of wherever your website is hosted on, wherever your products are, and then they can get that kind of a customer support agent? So definitely this is something, is an area where, we need it. The very important one, which is a debatable one, but yet needed, is a decision making support agent, which interprets your data, it suggests the actions, and it is something that is a very specific to a particular business, and it can vary. So those are the areas that we are looking at, the six pillars: research, content, operation, marketing, customer, and decision, where, you need to have the agents to think and deep dive further. How in this particular fashion we are going to move? Do you need to operate on all the levels and start buying the tool? Don't get into that. First approach is unifying and figuring out the smallest area where you can spend budget but you can get the most output. To some startups, it could be the research agent at this point of time. They're yet building the product that is needed. To some ones who already have a project and a product build, probably it's a content and the marketing, which is where they want to spend more to get the leads. People who are actually established, have customers on the retainer basis, then the customer support agent becomes an easy thing for them to have. The operation agents also come into that picture. And decision making support, again, yes, it is required in all type of phases, all type of businesses, or the type of startup phases, that stages that you are in. But again, that needs to go on a very case by case basis. So thinking about that, one agent, one workflow, one KPI is the key to get succeed in your, whichever AI deployment that you want to get, and try to maximize your outputs from the AI agents in the areas that you're taking. So what happens is there are several tools promising several other areas. However, as long as you don't know which particular area problem that you want to solve, you will not be able to make the decisions. So that's where, think about that as a, from that entire pie chart, that the 70% of the output that you want to get it from a particular tool, and the rest of the things, if you get, are the bonus. And at that point of time, then you can, make a wise guess on the pricing and rest other outputs that you're receiving. Well, test, train, and tweak, important part. What you want to do when the AI is giving you the output is only when you feed the right context, only when you are expecting certain output and you're getting it on similar lines, and you're refining your prompt engineering to that. AI is absolutely not about set and forget, okay? It's always about train and evolve. So somebody as a human has to be, intervening those things, human in the loop. I'm not sure if you've seen the movie, but it's a worth watching 90 minutes documentary. uh, so that's where the AI actually, improves and gives you the efficient output that you're looking forward to. The next part that we talk about, the R, is review your ROIs, how much time it has saved, how much cost this has reduced, what is the output quality that you're getting, and the revenue impact. Because most of these AI tools are the SaaS products, which are, monthly renewals. So you want to have certain things in your mind before you want to continue that subscription. And even if you buy something, You always have a permission to let go. Also, think about when you're adopting any AI tools, how efficient the migrations are. Migrations in the sense, right now you're adopting a new tool and you're putting in data and the outputs are generating. And then tomorrow you think like, this is a tool probably is not serving you anymore and you want to upgrade. If it's the same tool, wonderful. Then the migration concept doesn't come into the picture. But if it is some new tool, then how easy it is to take those workflows that you have automated, take that data and feed into the different tools. So always ask this question prior to even you adopting the tool, especially if it's gonna be a data massive tool. So that is what you want to think while you adopt the particular product. Okay. And of course, the next part is align with your brands and ethics. The alignment is very important. So I don't know which business you are in, which startup you operate in, but we operate especially in media, PR, and community driven businesses. So we help startups to provide that media outreach, PR wings, the establishments for the GTM and the positioning. So that's where, those are our areas. So what we do is we first ask any AI tool or the platform that we are adopting, is it something that sound like us? If not, then we need to train according to that. Like, is it a trust preserve? Is it a data that is getting protected if you're doing some branding work for media, PR, or the GTM positionings on, there are many other wings underneath that. So that is something is very, very important for us. And those are the questions that we ask when we are aligning any of the brand and ethics. So you might want to consider that whether your platform is selling data in turn and you want to do that. If it's something that is needs to be a sensitive and intellectually protected, you might want to ask those questions explicitly. So you have to, get that trust idea first. And of course, alignment is another part where you want to check for. And the next and a very important thing that I already mentioned, that protecting the human touch. Your stories, your values, your intuitions are unautomatable. So those are the things that is your unfair advantage as you being a founder, as you coming and solving those problems, as your interpretation through whatever that is happening in a market and the product that you are heading out. So those are the things that you want to protect instead of over automating anything. So if you are a solopreneur and a consultant, I'll just give you a quick example where this AI can fit into the story. Spending 60% of the time on your proposals and follow-ups, think about the research agent coming in the and giving you the client background, content engine coming and proposing a draft for you, operational agents coming and helping you with the follow-ups, reminders. So the you are looking out more about 70% of the time that is reduced from creation the proposals. Of course, you have to feed in like what exactly you want in proposals. You might want to tweak it, and you want to spend less time in your discovery calls and get more out of it because your content engine is providing you that feedback. The next thing is higher closer rate that you are looking out because the more personalization now you can offer. The other case study which for solopreneurs and the small scale businesses that we can think about is misleads, slow responses can kill your business in today's world. So having the customer support agent which can do your the normal FAQs or booking your calls in certain areas when certain client is weighted through certain filtration criterias, right? So you are only taking the calls which are important, which have been filtered, and which have the possibility in moving further up in your warm up leads. So that's when you wanna book your calls. So those are the agents can actually help you evaluate that and book the calls only when it's necessary. Then next thing is the marketing agent. Of course, it will work with a lot of prompts, and that's a prompt engineering to offer. For that, you must follow a Substack blog where we will be unfolding more on this, like what exactly prompts you should be using for which type of tools and etc. But more or less you need those kind of agents in order to capture your leads, better serve your community or the customer, and improve the customer experiences. This was just a beginning of the AI episode, where how you should think in your business, which are the areas you can bring clarity in before even you decide to take step one to research tools for the particular thing. And of course, the next thing that comes into the picture is, especially when you don't have any customers which are paying and adopting the tools, is this the capital that is worth sharing, or there are some other leaner ways to get around it? Are there any free tiers to opt in and see whether this is something that you want to further go ahead and save tons of time and productivity? So that's where this episode ends today, but I guarantee that in the next episode we will deep dive further and tell you which type of tools that exist, the competitive tools. If you are someone who is looking forward to build your own tools with the AI agents, then what are certain ways to design the system? But stay tuned for that to Passionate Pulse podcast and the Bootstrap Banter episode series. Well, till then, make sure you enjoy whatever that you're doing today and look at the productivity's ways in 2026 to March and get that strong revenue that you are looking forward for. But along the way, make sure you stay passionate and you stay focused. Are you a VC or an investor looking to share insights and connect with game changing startups? Capital Pulse brings real conversations on funding, scaling, and startup success. Be our guest and share your expertise. Sponsor the series and gain premium exposure while supporting future changemakers over Silicon Valley's radio and across global podcast and YouTube platforms. Join us now. Email us at info@passionatepulse.com or simply call us at 341 209 0102 and join today.